and it's now the fact checks are happening. And one of the things that I really, really was looking forward to was to hook up with Riki Ellison of the Missile Defense Advocacy Alliance, because what they do hinges on the administration all the time. Missile defense, not offense, defense. And not only did the president not mention our 10 naval, our 10 sailors that were being detained by our ally Iran, but none of that got mentioned. And the military strength, well, I'm not sure about that. To find out what is echoing around the Hill today, we go to Washington and talk with Riki Ellison of the Missile Defense Advocacy Alliance. Aloha, Riki.
Hey, good morning, Mike.
Good morning. You know, I know that our military leaders and our Supreme Court justices mandatorily have to go and sit there. Do you agree? Do you think that everybody was preloaded with what their reactions were going to be?
Well, it's a very highly political situation there, and it was, as you rightly pointed out, it's a cheering section for both parties, and that's what it is. It's his last finale going out, and I don't think there's any substance for the defense in that speech that would have been relevant or moving forward to make our nation a safer place.
He did say a number of things, Riki, that we needed to hear, whether we agree with the way he said them or the examples he used. There was that one time that he talked about the military being the strongest it's ever been.
Right.
I don't know if I agree with that, and I know that we've had discussions on and off the air about how much we're not spending on defense and we are spending on offense. Is this stuff fixable?
Well, it's fixable. I think he's comparing our nation to other nations in the world that don't have the technical innovation that we've done that exceeds us, but we are certainly not in a position to go over and muster enough troops to go fight in China or in Russia or in Europe. We're not at that level at all in that type of fight. We rely on, I guess, coming like we've always done with all previous wars, is ramping up, getting our butts kicked the first couple of years, then ramping up. That seems to be the American way.
Yeah, but today, Riki, we don't have the ability to get our butts kicked and recover. Today's warfare is a lot more serious, and our enemy is a lot more elusive than ever before.
Yep, and I would, as you well know, what happened with North Korea this month in their detonation of a so-called hydrogen bomb. It was an atomic bomb, and that's the third time in this administration that they've done that. That is a tremendous dangerous position that they have now exceeded and threatening with intent and capability to strike.
You know what that did to us here in Hawaii? And one of the things that you were the first person I thought of when I heard about that test. Whether it was real or not, I didn't know at that point. But I thought to myself, well, this is certainly going to fatten up the defense coffers, because obviously everybody's going to have to see that these guys are real, and we better protect ourselves against future stuff that they might do.
Absolutely, but I'm talking about what we've got in play today to protect the state of Hawaii and Guam. I mean, those two right now are more at threat than any other time that we've been with North Korea. They have been able to test and miniaturize those capabilities and putting them on missiles. So those two territories that we have, we've got to put everything we've got right now in enhancing our capability to protect the state of Hawaii and Guam.
You know, that's the thing that I need you to point out to people. Almost anybody can come up with the ordinance to do a lot of harm, but it's the delivery that we're worried about, right? I mean, how close are these people? And it's been said that they can already nuke cities in the U.S. mainland. Well, heck, if they can nuke cities in the U.S. mainland, what about 3,500 miles closer to them?
They, again, to do what they've done in the progression of testing, to do the nuclear testing, which creates the 4.1, 5.1 on the seismic scales, they have progressed that we believe have miniaturized nuclear weapons that they can put on any of their platforms. They're short-range, medium-range, and long-range platforms.
When you say long-range, you're talking about being able to go from North Korea to the U.S. mainland.
Well, you got to remember, they launched successfully a satellite 2 years ago that can put anything in orbit anywhere around the globe. So that's been demonstrated. They were almost ready to launch one this fall. They've pushed it over. That's coming forward on that. They have an ability with Scud missiles to be able to transport or put them on other platforms if you want to look at ingenious ways of doing it. But they threaten our troops in South Korea, along with the South Koreans, which are right across the border a mile away. So it's not, the nuclear threat is real. Their intent is real because they wouldn't have done this if they didn't want to show the intent of what they're talking about.
Some people say, look, where do they get the money for this? I mean, they're not a rich country in some respects. From what I understand, they're selling their stuff to a lot of other people.
Well, they are selling that directly to Iran. Iran and them are in cahoots with this program. Both their engineers and their scientists are over in Korea working those issues, that information, and they're going to sell that directly to Iran. They're getting that kind of funding and support, technically and funding-wise, to build these systems. Because Iran can't do it.
In doing what you do, how frustrating is it to hear the president in the speech talking about this great Iran deal, and and how we've set a precedent? I'm looking at this thing as being exactly the opposite of that. I think the Iran deal is spooky.
The Iran deal right now is a failure. The Iranians test-fired a missile over 1,000 miles in November illegally, broke the contract, and we didn't react to it. We didn't do anything to it.
I was going to say, the ink wasn't even dry on the thing before they broke it.
Yeah, it's broken. I mean, he may be talking about the Iran deal from 20 years from now. We look back and see maybe what's going on. But right now, they have directly threatened Europe by having an actual test that broke the treaty. So, again, I'm going back to the reasons why we have to have missile defense capability in the arena all over the world right now to prevent these guys from being aggressive and starting a world war.
I try to be the half-full glass guy, and I know you do too. And I do know that we have some very, very important decisions to make coming up in 2016 about the leadership in our country. What is the Missile Defense Advocacy Alliance and others doing to inform all the wannabes, all the candidates? These are some of the responsibilities you're going to be looking at should you get elected.
Well, we are aggressively pursuing a change of policy in our Defense Department to go from building our systems and our capabilities against a very small threat of Iran, North Korea, ISIS, and saying, hey, we have to change our policy to be able to deal with our near peers, China and Russia, on a limited basis, because that's where the future is. And we're not able to move our technology and our numbers and our quantity to be able to match those two powerhouses. We are playing with the little guys in the neighborhood.
Do you think sometimes, Ricky, that some of the old goats on both sides of the Democrats and the Republicans are too late to train, that what we got to do is look at some of these young leaders and say, hey, look, it's your generation that is at the biggest risk. Here's the risk. What are you going to do about it if you get elected?
Yeah, and you've seen a couple of young ones, Rubio and Cruz, that have been very strong on that position. Hillary's, I think both candidates, whoever get in, are going to be much more aggressive and be a little bit more on the bully side than what our president is today. I
don't think there's a choice in that. I think that whoever picks up leadership in this country is going to have a serious task of rebuilding our image.
I'm 100% with you, and I think the public is going to get tired of this, and I think there's going to be more being pushed over between now and the end of this president's term that's going to cause us wanting a much more aggressive, much more stronger leader to be able to handle our foreign threats that are upon us.
Yeah, I know this gets said in every election. This is the most important election of our history and our year. I've been doing this for a long time, and this one is. I mean, we have some serious shortcomings of our government, Democrat and Republican. We have some serious problems to get along with each other. It sounds like when a Republican says the word Democrat or a Democrat says the word Republican, it sounds like they're swearing.
They're not working together. That's the problem. They hate each other so much. We need a leader that has to work with both sides, not one that's going to isolate the other. I mean, that's what we've come to. But to be the best we can be and to be able to change policies and do things like a real superpower can and hold our status quo, we have to work as a team. You can't go in this thing with one side. We're going to end up in a similar situation that we've been going through as we're witnessing.
There's never a dull moment, is there?
No.
Okay. On another really fast note, I saw a young Ellison get knocked on his ear the other day, and bounce up like a sailor. What is it like when you watch your boy playing football and particularly getting hit like you used to hit people?
Well, it was pretty tough. I was in Green Bay 2 weeks ago, and on the last play of the game, he blew his knee out. So I was glad as a parent to be there and get in that locker room quickly with them, with the two diverse emotions, one of winning the conference for the first time and then having him out.
And then being out, yeah.
Once you're a father, you're always a father, and you always worry about your kid going through that, but that's part of the game. Injury is part of the game.
The good news is now they fix them. I mean, they have so much invested in the players these days.
Right.
They got to get them a pretty good sawbones right away, don't they?
Yeah, they sure do.
Well, listen, my friend, I know that the campaign trail is going to heat up, and I'm going to count on you between now and the election to give our audience an idea of who's thinking the right way about missile defense.
Absolutely. And I also think for your state that we really need to make some effort making sure that you have a missile defense capability operational that protects Hawaii.
Well, we already know what an important part of the economy it is, number one. But it's not the economy. It's our thought of being well-being, about being protected, about being not isolated in the Pacific, but showcased.
Right. We have capability that we can put in Hawaii to protect Hawaii, which we haven't done yet. But that's going to be moving forward, I think, regardless of who's in the presidency because of the threat.
When do we see you out here the next time?
I also just keep an eye on that big golf ball in your lagoon there.
Oh yeah. By the way,
that baby's going to be going out pretty quickly.
I saw a really neat story the other day how that technology has not only proven itself but proven itself to be invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely. We depend on that platform to protect the United States of America and Hawaii from North Korea.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for joining me, and let's keep our fingers crossed that whatever direction we're going in the future is a little bit better than the one we're in right now.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Aloha, Ricky. There you go. Riki Ellison from the Missile Defense Advocacy Alliance. It is 49 minutes after the hour. Time to look at traffic with Maylin.